the total solar eclipse of 2017 that will cross the entire U.S. coast to coast is almost here. In less than 24 hours, the U.S. and all of North America will begin to see the effects of this total solar eclipse. Now, you might be wondering, what is a total solar eclipse? So, we've got details. Essentially what happens is the sun and the earth are across from one another and the moon is directly in between. Now, because of the way the geometry works, the moon is 400 times closer to earth, but the sun is 400 times larger than the moon. And that geometric fact is what allows the moon's shadow to completely block out the sun. And so that the moon's shadow will cross the U.S., and there's two parts of it. There's the penumbra, which is the smaller version of the moon's shadow, and it comes essentially to a point, and that's what creates the total solar eclipse, or that's the umbra. The total solar eclipse is the umbra, and that's what will cross the swath of 14 states that will see totality. Now the penumbra, or the wider version of the shadow, will cross the entirety of North America. And that's where you will see a partial eclipse. So I have a visualization of what that looks like. So the wide yellow circles are the penumbra, and this red line is the umbra. So that's going to cross, beginning in Oregon, it will cross the entire U.S. from Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, a tiny part of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, a bit of Georgia, and into North Carolina and South Carolina. Those are the areas that will see totality. Now, the wider area is going to see a partial eclipse, and we are part of that partial eclipse area. And that's what we'll see for tomorrow, is a partial eclipse here in North Mississippi and western Alabama. So from start to finish, it only lasts about 90 minutes from when it makes first contact with, or the total eclipse begins in Oregon to when it ends over South Carolina. It's about 90 minutes. So once you factor in time zones, that starts around 10:20 Pacific time and ends about 2:45 Eastern time. So in our area, we'll peak around 1:30, but here's some of the cities across the U.S. that will see this totality. Salem, Oregon, one of the first major cities that will see this totality. It will last just shy of 2 minutes. Their full eclipse from beginning of partial to end of partial will be about 2.5 hours. Go to Wyoming, Nebraska, one of the big cities, or one of the most exciting cities to see this total eclipse, Carbondale, Illinois. They're going to see the longest period of totality, about 2.5 minutes worth, then about 3 hours worth of the partial eclipse. Not only are they going to see this total eclipse, but they are also going to see the next one that will occur in 2024. Nashville, the largest city to see this total eclipse, then followed by Charleston. That's right around the time that it will end in the U.S. So in our area, what can you expect to see? So the farther northeast you are, the closer you will be to totality, and so the more totality you will see. Iuka will see about 95% of the sun being blocked out by the moon. Back to the southwest, Kosciuszko only going to see about 86%, but all of us will see that partial eclipse, and it will still be a sight to see around 3 minutes or 3 hours from when the start of the partial eclipse to the end. And the peak eclipse will occur for all of us between 1:25 and 1:30. So Iuka around 1:27, here in Columbus around 1:28, but the farther southwest you go, the earlier that will occur. So Kosciuszko will see it around 1:26 tomorrow afternoon. Now, we've talked about the numbers of what you can expect to see. So 100% up by Nashville, the farther southwest you go back towards New Orleans and parts of Louisiana, only going to be about 70 to 75% totality. Again, our area between 85 and 95%. But all of these percentages don't mean a whole lot. So here's what it's going to look like here in Columbus. You can see the moon's shadow coming across and beginning to cover the sun. And then, so this will be around 12:30. By the time we get to 1 o'clock, you'll really start to notice it getting dark. And then around 1:30, that's when, right here, this is what it will look like. Essentially a Cheshire cat's smile will be what all you'll see of the sun. but then it will all start to happen in reverse. You'll see the moon moving away from the sun, and it will begin getting lighter. Once we get to around 3 o'clock, it will essentially be a normal afternoon once again. So some viewing tips, some headlines. Do not look directly at the sun. Also, sunglasses do not provide enough protection to correctly view a solar eclipse. By looking directly at the sun with or without sunglasses, you could possibly essentially burn your eyes, and that can cause blindness, so not something you want to do. You must use some sort of solar filter. The most common version is solar eclipse glasses. Now, I may look like a dork. I am a dork. But these will protect your eyes. So again, they are in high demand. If you haven't already gotten them, it may already be too late. You can always check stores such as Walmart, Kroger, Lowe's. They have had them in the past. They may be sold out of them by now. However, if you don't have these glasses, there are a few safe ways you can view the eclipse. One of the easiest ways is to use a cereal box. And you're like, what does a cereal box have to do with viewing an eclipse? Well, essentially what you can do is make a pinhole viewer. You cut two holes out of it, cover one side with a tiny hole in it. You have your back to the sun, so imagine the sun is behind me. You look in the open hole, the sun will come through the small hole, and you will see a projection of what the sun looks like. Now, you can also do that with anything that has holes in it, so a colander works great too. You hold it with your back to the sun, and you look on the ground, and you will see the sun's shadow. So again, those are two ways you can safely look at the eclipse if you don't have a solar filter, because anytime you're looking directly at the sun, not necessarily the safest thing to do in the world. But again, try and find some way to use these eclipse glasses. You can go to some viewing where others may have eclipse glasses that you might be able to see some of the eclipse based with these glasses. So what can you expect to see for the day tomorrow? Again, around 12 o'clock, that's when the partial eclipse will begin. That's when the first contact will be made, when the moon begins crossing in front of the sun. Just before 1:30, we'll have that peak blockage between 85 and 95% in our area. That's what it will look like. By 3 o'clock, the eclipse will end, and it will go back to being a normal day. So again, specific times for our area here in Columbus, it will start at 11:57, and then it will max out at 1:28, and then end at 2:55. Similar story for Tupelo, just a few minutes before. So 11:55 it will begin, it will max out at 1:26, and then end at 2:53. So again, Columbus will see 90% totality, Tupelo will see about 92% of totality. Now, one other interesting view that we can see of the sun, as the sun becomes blocked out by the moon, you're actually going to could see a drop in temperatures, especially for the areas in totality. So this map is showing how much of the sun's rays are going to be reaching the ground. You can see that path of totality. You can see it crossing across the U.S. That's that dark black spot. But in anticipation with the partial eclipse, you see those more of the rainbow colors. But once it goes back to a normal day, you can see it going back to normal, where we're seeing between 80 and 90% of the sun's rays, which is normal. So if you can't see totality tomorrow, but you want to see it at some point in your life, here are the next 4 eclipses that will occur over the U.S. after tomorrow. The next one will be April 8th, 2024, and that will go across 14 states for the totality from Texas, Arkansas, Ohio, and then up into the Northeast. But our area, if you want to see totality, the next time we will see totality will be in 2045. That will be in August. It will essentially take the same path, except a few hundred miles further south than this eclipse will tomorrow. So now that we've talked about what you can expect and what you can see, we want you to send us your pictures. Safest way to take pictures, cell phone cameras will generally have a UV filter that will allow you to take a picture of the sky that has the sun in it, just like you might any other day. But it won't let you get a very close-up picture of the sun. If you want to do that, you need some sort of filter over a camera, over a DSLR camera, but again, those are very hard to come by, so maybe let the professionals take the pictures. But if you happen to take any, go ahead and send it to us, or maybe just send it pictures of you guys viewing the eclipse. We'd love to see those. You can send it to us on all of our social media pages, WCBI Weather, or weather@wcbi.com if you want to send us an email. Also, make sure you tune in to our Here Comes the Dark special. We'll be airing that tomorrow on North Mississippi CW4 beginning at 1 o'clock. We'll also be doing live social media coverage beginning before that. If you want to get in on all of the action, we'll show you live cameras from all across our area and across the U.S., as well as telling you how to stay safe when viewing the eclipse. So now that we've talked about all of that, what is the forecast for tomorrow? Mostly expecting just a few of those puffy cumulus clouds, kind of what we've seen the last few days. Again, can't rule out a stray shower or storm, but most of us should have good peaks at the sun. That dimming, that maximum dimming will occur around 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. So again, that's what you're going to expect for the day tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. You can contact me, meteorologist Amanda Reynolds, on Facebook, or you can send it to us at WCBI Weather, any of the social media pages I listed before. You can send us questions or interact with us. I'll have more details coming up at 9 and 10 on North Mississippi CW4 and WCBI. But for now, I'm meteorologist Amanda Reynolds, and stay safe when viewing the eclipse tomorrow afternoon.